This right here is definitely not being talked about enough as Chicago Bears are set to play the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. And today's episode of Keek on the Mic starts right now.
Cali to Chi-Town, it's Bears on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the Mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. First and foremost, Bears fans, happy Friday to every single one of you guys. We are only a couple of days away until the Chicago Bears head to Minnesota to take on the NFC North rival Vikings. But before we go any further with today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's podcast, and that is DraftKings Sportsbook. This exciting football season continues to steamroll ahead, and for this season, Keek on the Mic has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook. If you love the thrill of live betting just like I do, DraftKings has you covered all season long. Check this out, football fans. New customers can turn $5 into $300 if your bet wins, paid instantly in bonus bets. It's that simple at DraftKings Sportsbook. Not only that, you will also get 3 months of NBA League Pass on DraftKings Sportsbook. What can I say? DraftKings Sportsbook is really coming with some heat this season and is taking their game to a whole new level. So if you want to get in on the fun this season with NFL, NBA, plus more, make sure you click the link down below in the description of today's video and use my promo code KEEK. So here we go, Bears fans. The Chicago Bears, sitting at 6-3, head to Minnesota to take on the 4-5 Vikings, and this is going to be a huge matchup for both teams. Obviously, the Chicago Bears are sitting at 6-3, but have 0 wins against divisional opponents, and then of course the Vikings are sitting at 4-5 and are 2-0 against NFC North opponents. So this is a very big game for Ben Johnson and his crew in the Chicago Bears. But there is one thing that I wanted to talk about as we lead up to this matchup against the Vikings, and that is the success of the Chicago Bears offense and why the Chicago Bears are having so much success, and that is because the Chicago Bears offensive line. We all know that general manager Ryan Poles has put in so much resources to make this offensive line work. During the offseason, he traded a 4th-round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs to get, future Hall of Famer Joe Thuney. He traded another draft pick to the Los Angeles Rams to get Jonah Jackson. They signed Drew Dahlman in free agency. And early on, it took a little while to click, but now 9 weeks in, the Chicago Bears offense has been clicking, and they still have some strides to overcome, but the offensive line has looked really good here in Chicago. And when you really look at the stats through 9 games for the Chicago Bears offense, they're 3rd in total yards, 11th in passing yards, 2nd in rushing yards, 7th in points, and have only allowed 14 sacks. To put that in perspective, Bears fans, they allowed 68 sacks in 2024. So the main objective here was to get an offensive line that can really establish the tone each and every game and get the run game going, but also keep their young franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams upright, and they're doing exactly that. Here is the best part about the offensive line playing so well, is that even Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell, which is one of the best head coaches in the National Football League, a really good offensive mind as well. And when he really offers his assessment on certain players, you really take a listen because he is that talented of a head coach. He had some really good things to say about the Chicago Bears offensive line as a whole, but he even singled out Darnell Wright as well. Check this out, Bears fans.
I think their offensive line's probably not getting talked about enough. Darnell Wright, when I turn on the tape, I see one of the best right tackles in football, and I think their additions, at center and guard have shown up and been pretty consistently healthy and been out there on the field gelling together, and they made the switch at left tackle, and you see the production that they're getting out of that position now.
Bears fans, here's the interesting thing about what Kevin O'Connell had to say. I think he understands that week 1 was a long time ago, but that was the very first game with this offensive line really playing together, and it took him a while to really come together and create that chemistry along this offensive line. So he understands that he is playing a completely different Chicago Bears team, and he understands that there's there's a reason why the Chicago Bears are second in rushing yards. He knows that there's a reason why Caleb Williams is getting better week in and week out, and it's because of the play of the Chicago Bears offensive line. And he singled out Darnell Wright, and I couldn't agree more, Bears fans. Darnell Wright is playing like a top 5 right tackle. He is showing why Ryan Poles and this Bears organization were so high on him out of Tennessee just a couple of drafts ago. When you look at the PFF grades and the stats of every single Bears player on this offensive line, they are playing at an extremely high level. Darnell Wright, 79.2 overall PF grade. And what's so remarkable about Darnell Wright is just even last game, on 34 pass blocking attempts, he shut down guys like Brian Burns, Kevin Thibodeau, Dexter as well, and made it look absolutely easy. There was a play where just he knocked down Kevin Thibodeau like it was no big deal, or maybe it was Brian Burns. But he's making these really good edge rushers in the National Football League look like nothing when he's playing against them. Darnell Wright has been a huge pivotal point for the Chicago Bears offensive success, and it's really cool to see guys like Kevin O'Connell give him the praise that he actually deserves. When you're looking at Darnell Wright, has only allowed 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, and 8 total pressures. You look at the play of guys like Jonah Jackson and Drew Dahlman as well. Jackson, a 70.6 overall PFF grade, 1 sack, 0 quarterback hit, 16 total pressures allowed. Dahlman, an 81 point overall PFF grade, which is 3rd among centers this season. 1 sack, 0 quarterback hits, 12 total pressures allowed. Joe Tooney, the future Hall of Famer, a 72.7 overall PFF grade allowed. 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, 7 total pressures allowed. And of course, Theo Benedict, 1 sack, 0 quarterback hits, 19 total pressures allowed. So ever since the Chicago Bears really made that switch from Braxton Jones to Theo Benedict, I think it really created a different dynamic on the Chicago Bears offense. And I think Ben Johnson finally has the 5 guys that he wants. And every single game, they're setting the tone. Every single game, Bear fans, they look nasty. They get to the second level. They're knocking guys on their ass. They're keeping Caleb Williams upright. And quite frankly, Caleb Williams has, this escapability as well that sometimes helps this offensive line. But for the most part, Caleb Williams has a lot of time to throw the football. Obviously, there's some big lanes for Caleb Williams to run, DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai as well. And now the Chicago Bears have a really big opportunity against the Minnesota Vikings as well. Just like Kevin O'Connell alluded to, the head coach of the Vikings, that this is a different Bears team from week 1. He understands that their defense has their work cut out for them just due to the success of this Bears offensive line through the first 9 weeks of the season. And when you look at the Minnesota Vikings defense, Bears fans, they really have struggled to stop the run over the last couple of weeks. They gave up 152 yards last week versus the Ravens. They gave up 207 yards 2 weeks ago to the Los Angeles Rams. And the Vikings overall as a unit in regard to stopping the run, they are 22nd against the run this season. They did only allow 119 rushing yards to the Chicago Bears in week 1. But once again, the Chicago Bears weren't really executing at a high level in week 1 in regards to the offensive line compared to what I feel that's going to happen this Sunday in their second matchup in Minnesota against the Chicago Bears. So I expect guys like Darnell Wright, Drew Dahlman, the entirety of the Chicago Bears offensive line to really set the tone this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. We all understand that it starts with the running game from DeAndre Swift, from Kyle Monangai, and even some timely runs from Caleb Williams as well. Once the Bears can get the run game going, you know that Ben Johnson likes to call play action, get Caleb Williams on the move, take some big explosive plays down the field to guys like Roma Dunze, Colston Lovin, even guys like DJ Moore, maybe sprinkling a little bit more Luther Burden as well. But the Bears have a really big opportunity to kind of get their get back this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, it really doesn't help the Vikings that they're going to be without Jonathan Grenard as well. So yeah, I'm expecting the Chicago Bears offensive line to really take advantage. I think the one big thing that we have to be concerned about is defensive coordinator Brian Flores. We know that he loves to send exotic blitzes here and there. He is going to challenge Caleb Williams and this Bears offense. So as long as this Bears offensive line can handle those untimely exotic blitzes from Brian Flores and this Vikings defense, I think the Bears will be okay. But overall, I will not be doing a pregame show with Isaiah Fry this week, but he did give me his score prediction. Isaiah Fry has the Vikings beating the Bears 24-14, and I actually have the Chicago Bears winning this game 27-20. So go ahead and comment your final prediction below in today's video of Keek on the Mic. But overall, Bears fans, I just wanted to bring this more to your attention at what level this Bears offensive line is truly playing at, and it's starting to be noticed by people around the league, and especially against rival teams, and Kevin O'Connell was the latest example of giving the Bears offensive line their praise, especially Darnell Wright. But other than that, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for our all-new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic.